everybody, and welcome to another day of Poems with PJ. Today is day number 18. It's our 18th birthday. If we were a person, we'd go from being a child to being a grown-up today. This is going to be the most grown-up poetry show you have ever seen. See? Yes, there's a grown-up doing childish things. That's pretty much what we are. We are on day 18, and what a journey it's been, right from the very start when there was only a few of you watching, and now there are oodles and oodles and oodles and bundles of you watching, loads of you all crowded round at home saying, "We can't see the screen, where's the silly man with the poem hat?" Whatever. Yes, it is great to see so many of you getting in contact with us, and I'm really, really pleased because yesterday I mentioned our brand new trailer that we put up, our kind of like, "This is what's going on in the world of poetry" thing. We put that up yesterday, and we've already had 3,500 people have seen our trailer, which is amazing, and that's only because you at home have been sharing it. So I want to say a massive thank you to you, and if you are watching now and you haven't seen the trailer yet, go up to the top of Paul Jenkins' Poet. It's pinned to the top there, and you can share that and tell as many people about the show as you can. And of course, you can share right now. You could press watch party, and you can share with all the people that are in your friends list at home. I'm talking to the grown-ups now. You can do that, and then you can share it with everybody as well. Let them know about what you're doing. Now, we are going to, this afternoon, have a lot of very different poems, and the first one is a historical poem. Yes, and historical poems, you kind of think, oh, it's kind of going to be all musty and dusty and old and a bit rubbish. No, historical poems can tell stories, and when they tell stories, they can give us all sorts of exciting facts about the history we're learning. We could learn about the Romans, or we could learn about the Normans, or the Tudors, or we could learn about the wartime. But no, today we are going to learn about a time when history books tell us that there were people with very big beards and very big axes and hair and hats which are even sillier than mine. And if we look in a book, it will probably say that our people would have horns on their helmets. Now, actually, we know from talking to historians that they probably didn't have those horns on their helmets, but actually, that's what reminds us of those. And actually, these are Vikings, is what I'm talking about. And the Vikings were famous for sailing from Scandinavia, which is Norway and Sweden and Denmark, and they were famous for sailing all around the world and invading countries, particularly our country. And so this is about a tale of a raiding party by some Vikings long, long ago. Far, far away and long, long ago, in freezing cold Norway, down deep in the snow, the Vikings were dreaming of long distant lands, of putting their feet down on cold English sand, to steal all their treasure and ransack their towns. Berserkers would burn everything to the ground. And late into night, they did give rowdy cheer, feasting on meat, drinking tankards of beer, proclaiming with voices so bold and so brave how tough they all were, how a fight they did crave. For Thor and for Odin we'll fight to the death. Then, leaving the feast without catching a breath and seizing the moment, they all clambered aboard, armed with their shields and armed with their swords. As they sailed out to sea, the cold wind it did blow. It pushed the boat to, and it pushed the boat fro. So quickly they found that this journey was tough. The waves, they crashed hard and incredibly rough, weaving and heaving, rocking and rolling. The skipper had terrible trouble controlling the ship and its crew on this wintertime raid. Throughout the whole vessel, they all were afraid, and over the edge of the boat you could find these brave, hairy warriors losing their mind and losing their lunch in the process as well. By the time they reached England, oh, imagine the smell. The monks on the shore looked a little confused. they gently approached, feeling slightly bemused. Each Viking crawled out with a green, seasick face, stumbling, moaning all over the place. The moral, I think, that we all can agree. If you're going invading, don't go after tea. So you can just imagine, can't you? All of those Vikings in their big armour and their giant hairy suits and their big hairy beards and their hats and their shields and everything. And they went straight out after lunch, got on the boat and were all seasick over the side. Do you think that actually happened? We'll never know, will we? Maybe go out, next time you go out, go and find out some exciting stuff about the Vikings next time we're all allowed out. And I tell you where a place you need to go, York. York is famous for its Vikings. And if we've got any viewers in York, give us a wave, people in York, because you've got a brilliant Viking museum there, the Jorvik Museum. It's a fantastic place. And you can even smell the Vikings when you go there. So there you go. That was called Invaders, and it was one of our poems from our poetry books. Now, it's not just my poems that we share here. We also share loads of poets by really famous poets as well. And the next one I'm going to share with you is by a poet called Neil Zetter. Now, Neil is a brilliant poet, and he's been doing poetry for so many years, brilliant, far longer than I've been doing poetry, and he's got so much experience of travelling to schools and working with people across the country. He's worked with all sorts of people. He's had books and anthologies put together. You can find his collections in lots of different places. And this next one that I'm going to share with you is one of Neil's poems, and it jumped out to me because I know so many of you are working with your parents at home, and you have become homeschoolers. Now, Neil, who I know is watching this afternoon, good afternoon, Neil, how are you doing? Now, he wrote a poem about teachers having eyes in the back of their head. Now, that's something my mum used to say to me all the time. When I went to get biscuits from the cupboard, she'd go, "Wait!" And I go, "Oh, I'm sorry, Mum. I didn't know you were watching." And she'd say, "I've got eyes in the back of my head." And that is sometimes what teachers have too. And this is Neil's poem all about teachers doing that. My teacher's got eyes in the back of her head. So you'd better listen to what she'd said. She probably knows what you are doing, even when you're in bed. If you muck about, don't you know she'll catch you out? It's one false move and you're dead. You're never out of her sights, so watch where you tread. Where's my teacher got eyes? In the back of her head. I think that's an absolutely brilliant poem. And I bet you think that your homeschool, if you're doing homeschool, you probably think you can get away with a few things. But no, you've got the ultimate combination, parent and teacher all together. They've got two pairs of eyes in the back of their head. So there you go, that's one of Neil's poems. And you can go and check out loads and loads of his work on CCCP workshops. And that stands for Confidence in Communication Through Comedy Poetry. Which is brilliant. I love the idea of comedy poetry anyway, but all those brilliant other things as well. Confidence and communication. Two really important skills that we get. So go and check out Neil's work, and maybe you can write a poem in the style of something Neil Zetter's written as well. And thank you very much for tuning in this afternoon, Neil. It's a pleasure to have your company. Right, before we go any further, we're going to go on to the most important people and their poems, because it's time for your poems now as well. All right, and we've got a couple that are coming up here. Now, the first one, right, is by Frances. Right, now Frances, hello, I know you're watching this afternoon, and Frances, she's from Longley Primary School, who I mentioned yesterday. They sent us another one of their poems. And Frances, you've written one that's just about the time that we're in at the moment, because it sounds a bit weird. We should be in the school holidays at the moment. It doesn't feel like the school holidays, does it? Because we were off yesterday and the day before. And we're going to be off next week and the week after. It's all very confusing. Nobody knows where they are. Surprisingly, tomorrow is supposed to be a bank holiday. Feels very weird. Frances has written an Easter poem for us. Now, there's one bit in here that she's written, and it mentions something that we can't do at the moment. But maybe she's just dreaming of those things that we can do. It's called My Easter Poem. I love the spring when the bells on cows go ding-a-ling-a-ling. When the fluffy newborn rabbits have a wondrous habit of popping up from their burrows. The path narrows as the flowers bloom. I know that Easter will be here soon. Hunting for eggs. Oh, what a treat! A perfect time for friends to meet. Easter eggs all for me. I can have them for my tea. Now this is the end of my poem. I think I have to be going. And she has. Frances has gone now, all right? But that is a brilliant poem. And it does, there's that bit, perfect opportunity for friends to meet. And of course, friends can't meet at the moment. And that must inside make you think, I wish I could do that. But maybe we can have an Easter egg hunt tomorrow. Maybe you could hide things instead of outside. Maybe you could hide them in your house. And maybe you could show other people in your house that. And maybe you could film it and send it to your friends. Maybe that might be a way we could do an Easter egg hunt tomorrow. We'll find a way to do it. Either way, it was an absolutely brilliant poem, Frances. So thank you so much for sending it to us. And I know you worked really hard this afternoon because your teacher told me, typing it up so that we could get your poem here online this afternoon. It's absolutely brilliant to see people not just using their writing skills, but then practicing their computer skills as well, doing their typing. And I know you typed that all up yourself. Well done. Now, we've also got Anna has sent us in a poem. Anna lives down in Essex, which is a long way away from where I am. I'm up in Haslingden, up in Rossendale, which is up in Lancashire, which I can see from my window. I can look out, I can see the Pennine Hills. It's beautiful out there. And it's a very long way away. It's about 250 miles, I think it is, all the way down to where you are. And you have written us our first riddle. Now, when you listen to this riddle, I want you to think about something we can see here that this riddle is about. I'll give you the answer at the end. Have a listen. I have green paws and red eyes. I really love to sneak. I love to watch you do your jobs. So it's technically hide and seek. I have blue arms and pink legs, and you always try to run. I love to see you find my end. It really is quite fun. Perhaps I'm purple, perhaps you're right, perhaps you're really wrong. I might go swimming every day and love to sing a song. I have an orange tail, I have a yellow beak. And maybe I like to spy. Are you ready to answer my riddle? If so then, what am I? Now I love the idea that she's used all sorts of things and she's given a character to this thing, because this thing doesn't have a real character, and says it sneaks about and appears when we don't expect it. It goes swimming. Well, maybe that means that we see it sometimes in the water. It's got pink and blue and purple, and it's got green and red in it. I wonder what it could possibly be. It's a rainbow. That's the answer. What a brilliant way to describe a rainbow, to say that it's got different things that it can do and it kind of sneaks about and appears to us. That, Anna, I'm absolutely blown away by that, because you use not only rhyme in there and poetry, but you also set us a bit of a puzzle as well. What a brilliant idea for a poem. Maybe you could write your own puzzle poem at home. Thank you again for everybody who has sent us a poem. Remember, you can send them to pauljenkinspoet@gmail.com and we'll pick them up. And then on Monday's show next week, we'll be able to read out some more of your poems. Now that means you're thinking, well, are you having a day off tomorrow? Is that your day off? No, we're going to be doing an Easter special for you tomorrow. And do you remember last week that we had the wonderful World of Wibbly Words? Well, we're going to be doing the same again tomorrow, an interactive poem where you get to choose the words and we will write it together. So I'll have my whiteboard up here, right? And we're going to write a brand new poem tomorrow, right? And we're going to do that now every Friday because it was such a success last week and so many people gave us so many brilliant ideas. We're going to do it every week from here on, all right? So that's quite exciting for tomorrow. I'm quite excited about that. And that means that Monday to Thursday we'll be sharing your poems. So make sure you send them to us. So on Monday next week, we've got a brand new poem. Now, we are, of course, missing something from here. Now, I wonder what on earth I could possibly... Ah! My goodness! It's a dragon! A very tiny dragon. You're a very tiny dragon, aren't you? Yes, this is a tiny dragon. This dragon came all the way from Wales. Hello, everybody who's watching in Wales. Yes, that's my very best Welsh accent, that. With a name like Jenkins, you'd expect me to be a Welsh person, wouldn't you? But I've checked. We checked my granddad, and my great-granddad, and my great-great-granddad, and my great-great-great-great-granddad, and my great-great-great-great... All of those people... None of them come from Wales, even though I've got a name like Jenkins. But I have got a dragon, a very tiny dragon. And it reminded me of a television programme that's on BBC. It's called Dragon's Den. Now, Dragon's Den hasn't got dragons in it. It's got some very serious people where people try and get money for their businesses and say, I've got a brilliant idea for a business. And the dragons have to decide whether they're going to give money to that business or not. I wonder what would happen if a dragon went on Dragon's Den. And that's the poem that I've written, and it's called Dragon's Den. A dragon went on Dragon's Den. He had a business plan. It came as quite a shock to them to see a businessman with scales and teeth and fiery breath, a tail so very long. He wasn't like the others. They knew something was wrong. One dragon asked from in her chair, "Why do you want our cash? And why should I invest in you? Why should you get my stash?" The dragon, yes, the real one, went to tell her why she should. But flame shot out and fried her, and she was gone for good. The others quickly legged it, leaving all their notes behind. Our dragon, now a millionaire. He thought, well, that's very kind. They left me all my money. What a lovely thing to do. I'll invest it in my business. Dragon-powered barbecues. You can imagine, this dragon doesn't do fire, but I should imagine the dragon in our poem had a big breath of fire, and it fried that poor business lady, and she ended up losing all her money. That was almost, I would say, quite a naughty thing to do, but very entrepreneurial. Well done, Mr. Dragon. Now, our dragon's going to go up here. I think our dragon can live above here, next to our tiger. What do you reckon? I think he looks quite good up there, don't you? We'll be back next week, and we'll be having more of these, and maybe some of these will appear even tomorrow as part of our poetry. We don't know. Tomorrow is Good Friday. Maybe we can have something Eastery to see then. Please do tune in tomorrow, and please do share as widely as you can, and let everybody know that we're going to be getting your ideas for our wonderful World of Wibbly Words special on a Friday. And of course, it is a Good Friday special tomorrow. Stay safe, everybody. Please share as widely as you can, and we will see you all tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Bye-bye now. See you soon.